Hey everybody, it's Miriam here at the Paper Wheel Studio, home of the Wheelchair Crafter. Today we are going to make, I don't know what they're called, folks. I call them window frames, scrappy window frames. I don't know, I'm using junk mail envelopes, and I have several different ones here. They have different size envelopes. So I'm just showing you some different options that you could choose from. And honestly, these envelopes, this one, they come from insurance companies. So if you are like my age and you have these Medicare Advantage plans, you get all kinds of stuff in the mail. And they often have these larger envelope windows. So anytime I get the larger envelope windows, whether it's a bigger envelope or a smaller one, I like to save those because I like how the window is, and they make really cool pockets, tucks, where you can actually see through the windows. So I have these two, and I have some smaller envelopes. This is one that obviously, oops, get that scrap back where you belong. It belongs over here in a little pile I've got off there to the side. So I've got some smaller envelopes. Here's one. I think that was a credit card advertisement. So there's a good size envelope window there. What I'm going to do is, and I'm going to go ahead and save most of the time I'll save these other ends I'm not using, but I'm going to use my mini cutter to just cut these out. And I'm not doing any kind of a pocket. It's a single layer kind of thing that I'm making, and you can measure it if you want. I'm simply eyeballing it because if it's exactly, I don't care if it's slightly crooked, because it's a junk journal, right? It adds to the aesthetics. Now, if you're doing scrapbooking or something like that, you might not want that. So I'm just simply cutting them so that I have a frame around the clear part. That's my window. And then I'm just going to barely take an edge off of each of these sealed up because we want a single layer here. Not quite enough to take anything off. Okay, there we go. Barely taking the edge off. I mean, as much as you can cut with your cutter and still get paper, if that makes any sense. And I do line it up because I don't want to end up with it horribly crooked. And I'm just barely taking my edges. So I'll still have a little bit of a border around. What will soon become a window once we take the back off. You don't have to worry about what's behind these because you're going to be gluing these into your journal as a pocket, an overlay. You could even make these for cards. So now you have these two bits. I'm going to throw this in a pile over here, and it could easily be used when you're making lists, scrappy tablets, whatever you'd like. And I'm going to save this because it's a good base for a pocket. You've got this. You can put a little tab here, glue up your bottom. I must have opened it by cutting the end off, but glue up the bottom and you've got you've got a tunnel. You've got a see-through tunnel. A telescope, perhaps. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, lay it aside in your scraps. You can do whatever you want with it. Doesn't matter. Everybody does something different. So all you need is this part. So we're going to lay that to the side here. If I keep piddling around cutting these, I won't have any time to create them, now will I? So we're going to do the same thing to this one. I'm just going to trim this up around the edges and lay my scraps to the side. And on this one, I have this piece of plastic. I'm lining my window along this edge of my plastic when I cut them, and I'm going to make sure, it's on there straight. And then I have about the same amount around each edge of my window. They don't have to be that way, but if I can do that, that's what I try to do. So I've got that. Let me cut the other end off, because this is my Tim Holtz mini cutter. it's probably, what, it'll cut up to 6. You can squeeze probably up to 7 in it if you take the little plastic thing off. Well, okay, we're going to do this way. That'll be easier to measure my frame part. So, again, I'm eyeballing it. I didn't go far enough. I almost cut that. Did you see that? So I'm going to make it appear to be the same size on this other side. Make sure you're straight. Put that in your scraps for a tuck or something in the future. We're going to cut the bottom and the top. I think what I want to do here, because I'm going to get my windows and all my scraps, so I'm going to lay them over here on top of my other envelopes that I brought until I get them all cut. And then I'll put them all together in a stack and we'll create and decorate them all up. So this is a really simple way to get your bases created here. I don't know if that's going to go through there with all that. So we'll just do this one and just kind of eyeball along the edges here. If you want a torn edge look, you could be tearing these with your ruler and doing it that way. I just prefer this way to do these frames. It's quicker and easier for me, and I often take the quick and easy routes. Just everything seems to be a struggle sometimes, so if I can make my crafting easier, that's what I do. Okay. So I'm just going to go on around here and do I've got a total of 5 envelopes. So we're going to cut out, this is number 3. And I may not completely decorate these today. I often like to wait till I put things in my journal to completely decorate it. Since I don't know what kind of journal I'm going to put this in. I'm working on an eclectic one, so I could really put anything in it. So, let's see. I just like this idea. And I've not made them myself. So, we'll see how mine turn out. Now, as far as supplies, if you're making these, you need your envelopes with the windows in them. Of course, something to cut your paper with. You could cut these with scissors just as well. So you want, something to cut your papers with. I'm going to use glue stick. You could use any kind of glue of your choice. So you'd want your glue, your cutter, the glue of your choice, a ruler if you want to measure. If you don't care about measuring, then you won't need a ruler, right? Let's see where that is. That's kind of right in the center. So let's cut this bit off. And scraps. I'm going to use some scraps. I also brought, if you have some pretty, you could use washi tape on these as well. So if you have some pretty washi tape, you could use that. And you could even leave more white around them. I'm just not doing it today. I'm doing these different today. So take my idea and turn it into whatever you would like. I don't claim to invent any of this stuff. Junk journaling's been around long enough that somebody's probably invented all the things you could possibly do. There's only so many ways you can fold a piece of paper, right? I do still see lots of new clever things out there, and they take old ideas and turn them into something different. So that's what I'm hoping you can get from watching my videos. You can take an old idea and turn it into whatever you'd like and make it your own. So let's see. Alrighty, got that one. And I think this one, we're going to leave some above this, and I'm just simply going to cut this. Where did I cut it already? I'm going to cut this one like this, And I think I'm going to leave this on here in case I want to use it as some kind of a flip out, or I could always cut it off later. So I think I'm going to just leave it on this one, just for an experiment. It can be cut off later if I choose. But now I have a little flippy flap that I could put this on, and it could open up and hide something behind it, whatever you want to, whatever you could possibly think of to do. This one, I'm also, it's brand new envelope. I'm going to cut all of my edges around this one, but I'm going to leave some more white on it. So that way I could use it again as a pocket, I believe. So we're going to cut all the edges around this one, so they'll be all different. And we'll have 5 here. And if I don't dilly-dally, let's see if we can get, wonder how long it'll take us. Let's time and see how long it'll take me to decorate, not decorate, to cover these and turn them actually into the window frames that I want. And all these strips are small enough or have the envelope sticky on them, things that I would not want to keep, so I'm not going to mess with those. My pipes make the funniest noise, and I got water running in them downstairs, so if you can hear whistling or something, I don't know if it's a motor in the distance or what that noise is, but I apologize. I'm not sure what that is in my background. I do have water running for a shower, wash, or something. So I know it's a purpose. I'm just not sure what it is right at the moment. And I said I wasn't going to do that, but look what I did. That's all right. We're going to go with it then. Busy talking and got distracted and almost messed it up completely up. I'm just hunting for my scissors here. Since I did not cut this little last bit on the cutter, I think my blade is dull on the bottom, or it doesn't want to cut or something. I'm just going to match it up with my scissors. So that... All right, so let me get rid of these strips, throw them in my trash, or I tell you what, we'll just slide them to the lap, and they can be thrown in the trash when I'm done with my video, right? Okay, so now I have these frames, and since all of my windows are rounded, I'm going to use my corner rounder. No, I'm not right now. I'm going to cover them, and then I'll use a corner rounder to round my corners. Do I want to do it first? No. I'm just going to keep that in mind when I cover them and go from there. So, you can take strips of stuff to cover this. You can fold it over the edges to make your edges a little more sturdy, but remember, you don't want to cover this window in the back, so you can only fold it over that. I got about a 1/2 inch all the way around, and that's about all you could use to fold over. So, if you would want to simply use some different kinds of washi tape, I brought along a couple different ones, so I thought I would see what will work. I got some darker grungy ones here, and then I have a couple floral-y like ones here. So this actually looks really cool, and it has some little teeny tiny label-like things mixed in. So let's try this, and I know it's a little bit wider. So also, it's very, 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 very difficult to round your corners here and keep them that way. And so I'm not going to worry too much about squaring off my corners. This one does have, some of these images have an up and down, like this right here. So be attentive to what you're using as far as that goes, in case you have one that has an up and a down. And then that way you aren't putting things on the bottom or the top upside down. The sideways things, it's not so much if you put something sideways, but, and I really don't mind, and I don't care if I get up with something upside down that much, but just try not to. And even if I'm using washi tape, I'm still going to put glue on it. I am sure you've heard me say this before. Lay these off my glue book. And I'm going to put my frame that I'm working on up here and make sure I'm working on the correct side. And you can either run your tape across your glue stick, or you can simply put a row down where you need it to stick, like I just did, and then stick down your washi tape. These can go, actually, I cut this for the side, but I could go ahead and use this. And I'm going to bring it in to where my washi tape is just going along my outside edge. And go ahead and go over the window. It'll make the window slightly smaller, but that will not matter. The whole frame will be sturdy that way. I don't mess with trying to miter corners when I do this, because sometimes I just use paper scraps and I don't want to mess with that on paper scraps. So let's just go ahead and cover this all with the same washi tape. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue down that row. And whatever I do, I want to make sure that all the way around, I'm going to put the top of the washi tape facing my window. That way, no matter how I put this down, it won't appear as if anything is upside down, because if they're all, the tops of the washi tape are facing the window, that's still not going to work. I don't know what I'm going to do, y'all. Let's just put it down and we'll go with it. Like I said, I've never made these before, and I have thoughts, but sometimes when you think out your thoughts, and actually I didn't make a prototype or anything, and I'm going to wait till I'm completely finished, then I'll trim or sand off my extra washi tape. But you want the one on the top and the bottom to be going the same way. So this one, because the lid to my bottle is there, I put the top toward the window. So when I do that very top, I'm going to put the top towards the outside, and my window will go on like this, if that makes sense. So when you're choosing your washi tapes, you want to be really careful you don't choose a directional one. This one is, but I'm accommodating it. Mailman must be delivering my mail unless someone's coming, because she is just... I have someone else in the other room that can get the door. I don't have to rush and go get it, so we're good. All right. I'm actually going to put this on so that whether I turn it sideways or long ways, there we go, I can put it on either. So I'm kind of going to face the two sides of the top and bottom are going to be put on the same, so that I can turn this window any way I want. It's my directional washing tape that's doing it. And see, when you look at the back, I've covered maybe a 1/4 inch of that window, but it's so big that this one I likely will not round corners on, because I squared off my corners here in the center. So there you go. And again, you could fold it over to strengthen it if you did not want to go over your window a little bit, but I don't really mind that. There's the top, there's the bottle, there's the sides of the top, and I want it to go on this side because that's what I did on the opposite one. So if you're using washi tape, that does make beautiful frames, and it just adds such an extra touch to your journals, I think. So we'll put this down here. All right. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and trim this. I have a few, I think we'll just go ahead and cover them all. And then I'll put a few little labels because I laid out some labels that I could use. And again, you could just do 2 sides of this washi tape and use a scrap that goes or looks well with it. You don't want everything matchy-matchy always. Some people don't like that look. I don't mind if things match, but in color coordinated, I just don't know that I need it to be so matchy that it all blends in, if that makes any sense. Because I like things to stand out. And putting a frame around something is one way that you can make your photos if you use them in your journals. Or whatever you might use in your journals, make them stand out. Now, I did cut these with scissors because it's kind of flimsy. I was going to sand them off, and that's a good way if you're using washi tape on cardstock to just sand it. It gives a good distressed look. However, I don't think I'm going to do it on this one. And I'm going to wait until it goes in a journal, and it may or may not get inked up when it does. So there we go, one done, except for perhaps a label. I did say I was going to wait, didn't I? But I had a label that I want to see if I still have over here. Let me pull this out of the way because I don't want it to lose it. So let's just grab it here. Here we go. And it says Style, which I think is really cool. It is a see-through label. I also have this tiny little ticket piece that I thought I could use on something as well. So I think all I'm going to do on this one, you guys, is put a label on here. I can always add more later. And I do like when my label goes over top of, you can't hardly see it from my book page, but I'll hold it up so you can see it. I like when, oh, ooh, crooked, Miriam, straighten that baby out. Oh my goodness. And I don't know that I can. Oh wow, it's going on there crooked. It's a clear sticker, so you can't really pull it back off. But I like when you can see through the stickers to see what's behind it. So if like there's book page behind it, you can simply put it down on there and you can see right through that sticker. And I do like that look. That's probably all I'm going to honestly do for that one. And it is completely done. So much for waiting till the end to decorate. Let's get our other big one out here. And this one, we're going to use some paper scraps. I have some little bits of book pages, a piece of coffee dyed paper. I mean, I have some random bits. And if you wanted to tear your book page and give it a torn look around your window, I think that looks really cool too. And these book pages I'm using are extremely fragile. So again, I'm going to lay this down here and I'm going to run my glue along the edges and then put my papers on it. So. Hope everybody's having a good day. We finally are getting sunshine and warmth here in the Ohio Valley. We are going to be up in the 80s today. I'm excited, looking forward to it. And I can't wait till it warms up so I can go out and sit on my porch. I just love to sit on my front porch, especially when it's warmer out because I get a good little breeze there and it's just so nice. It's one of my favorite places to be in the summertime or spring. Now, see how that's wanting to go down there and I got just a wee bit of white there? I'm not going to worry about that because I can cover this up and lay a piece of paper there and I can add ink in those little spots and you won't see them. So, just going to kind of wipe away the excess glue. If you would get glue on your little window frames, take one of your baby wipes and just wipe it and clear it off there. You can do that. Glue stick usually will wipe up even after it's dried. All right, let's see what else. Wonder if I can take this piece and split it in half. Just kind of barely folding it. And then I'm just going to tear it here. Well, that piece didn't last long, but that's okay. Tear this. And I think I'm just going to collage around this using the book page. Heck yeah, why not? Let's take a little bit more off this so it matches my edge on this side. There we go. I hope you all can see me okay. If you have any comments, thoughts, suggestions, please feel free to leave them. I try to do things quick and easy, and it may seem to you that I'm doing things a longer way, but with my physical limitations, sometimes I don't have much of a choice. I just got to go with what I can get. So that's how I do. That's kind of how I live my life anyway. The world was not designed for wheelchairs. And yes, we have the ADA, but that's only for public areas. Families don't have to follow that. So, you know, you have issues getting in and out of places. Those who have been in wheelchairs know exactly what I'm talking about. And family functions and all that good stuff. So you just kind of try to accommodate the best you can in your life. And this is how I accommodate my crafting. All right, how do I want to do this? I need just a tiny little piece, and wonder if I can get away with that. Sticking it up there where I put glue and laying it down to cover that tiny little bit on the corner. So I don't have to overlap those. Oh, where'd it go? Here you are again. Let's just put it down. And I also have another way. I'm going to put that right there. But I also have, I think, honestly, I think I can cover that with my little ticket here. So we're going to put this on here. It's a little on the wide side for this, but I'm just going to put that up right here like this. That. And this is so fragile. Actually, I think I want this piece right here. And I'll put another piece there to bring these two together. Here's one. Well, it wants to go there, so that's where it's going. And then I'm just going to fold over the excess, and I will come back in here with this tiny little piece. Put some more glue here, and we're going to put this piece right here to cover the white. Okay, cover that there, and this other little tiny piece. I mean, you don't have to be this particular by any means. I just want to use up this torn, this is the book page from the Woman's Day, and I just happen to have a small piece of it. And it's very, very fragile paper. Not all the magazines fragile, just the ones that were printed on regular paper. It's like a how-to section. And it is extremely fragile. And I just barely touched that piece there and it popped right back up. But I'm going to stick it down and let my glue work. So let's see if we can get a couple pieces out of this. Like we could use this across the bottom. I want this one to look kind of grungy and scrappy and thrown together. That's a good piece there. We're going to scoot that right up there in case I miss another spot that I need to put one in. Keeping all these little bits just in case. I don't normally keep them. Only because I'm doing this project today. All right, let's see here. And yeah, I think this will work. Or it might be really cool to put this piece down here. And this piece, do I have enough to do that? I don't think I have any more of this book page handy. You know what? I think that's okay because I can fill in, and if I'm going to put a ticket piece down here, that will help cover it. Okay, that's what we're doing. I also have a couple more of these book pieces that fell to my lap that we can probably put down and squeeze in here. Like here is a good sized piece that will probably take care of our issue up here. So, do we want to glue this piece? Let's try. Clear to my edges. And I'm going to put this piece up here to cover up that white. There we go. And we'll fold this over, and that's going to break off, which gives me another little piece. And we'll put a little more glue on, because if I put a lot of glue, it's most likely to stick better. And we're going to put this little guy over that white. There we go. We'll be real careful. Press it down, make it hold, whatever. Alrighty. So now how about that looks better. Can you see? Yeah. Okay, so this piece we're going to put down here. I'm just barely going to let it come over the edge because it is slightly crooked. And I've got a piece that's extra big right here, so I'm going to just see if I can tear that piece off here. Yeah. Ooh, I like how that tore. And then I can use that bigger piece up there. So let's get this out of the way. This one's just taking a little longer than washi tape because of it being such fragile paper and measuring, and so we'll do these two and maybe one more. And I think that's all I'll do on camera with you. I always have plans to do way more than I can possibly accomplish on camera, so keeping all my little bits here because I gotta make sure it's all covered. And I don't mind this. I could even come along and Mod Podge it when I'm done. Honestly, it really makes no difference. So, I'll put glue on here. And put that there like that. And then I just got my edges to ink. Let's see how much this piece will cover here. Do I want it just up? Yeah. And my writings turn all different ways on this, so it really doesn't matter to me which way it goes. I'm going to make sure I overlap with my glue up here, bring it down, make sure it's all good along here, and I'm going to overlap it down here too. And then I could come along and fill in my gaps with my extra pieces of book page. Let's put this piece. Oh, I gotta overlap the glue onto this. So we're gonna put this piece. It's got a little curve in it, so let's see if we can make use of that little bit of a curve here. Oh, perfect. There we go. That just fell right into place, didn't it? Then we're going to not let it stick to my page here and put that up through here. And we'll use this last little piece here with writing, and I have some tinier ones, but I don't want to go that tiny. Oh, where'd it go? Stuck to my fingers. There it is. Now. Okay. I really like how that says how-to section up there. I just think it looks cool. I see one piece that's kind of trying to come up a lot. So I'm going to go back here and put a little bit more glue there for that to stick on. Broken pieces when I lifted it up. So can we move it over still? Cover my white. There we go. And I still have a piece of writing that just does not want to get left out, so I guess I'll put a little glue on him. And we will stick it down here on this bottom corner to cover up just a tiny bit of whiteness here. Yeah. So that's how that one turned out, and I like it. I really do like it. Do we want to put a ticket on this? And if we are, let's put it over. I know I took all this time to do that corner, didn't I? This piece is coming up right there. Probably if I were going to use this in a journal, I'll be quite honest, I would cover this with Mod Podge with all the different size papers on here. And I'm sure I got enough glue under those because I saturated that a minute ago, but it really just does not want to stay on there. So I think what I'm going to do is show you a little trick that sometimes I do with my glue to stick. And once it seals, it kind of helps the papers to stay in place. I didn't ink this, did I? And I want to... the paper I used when I put it down here, you couldn't have inked it if you wanted to, unless I would go along now and ink it and just wipe my window off, because you touch that with a dauber and try to ink it in any way, even if you lay it down on a piece of paper, it's so fragile it would just tear it to bits. So that's why I'm not going to mess with that. And to give this just a, I kind of like this in the right corner though. I don't know why, but I do. So we're going to put it in the right corner and just overlap it on the window a bit. Okay. And I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to run my glue up a little higher. Can't do this with all glue sticks. And I'm just going to rub over the outside of this, just a coat, because I want to make sure I get it all. I don't want to miss in it, so it all has the same kind of finished when it dries. And I'm just running that over my book pages, because that extra layer of glue that's going to dry on top of this is going to give you just a slight bit more stability for that fragile book page. And you should be able to do this without, I mean, you're not using just enough to lay the glue down, so you should be able to just run it over your papers without disturbing any of the book pages. But if you run it very hard, you might pull up a book page or two, so be careful if you decide to do this and give it a little coat, because it's very easy to, and then we're just going to lay that over with the other one, and I would let that dry and then see how my little edges are doing, and if I need to, then I would cover it with Mod Podge. You can see it kind of, till it dries, it has like a little bit of shininess, but once the glue stick dries, you really don't get that. So put that one up here, and we'll do one of these. And then we're going to call it a day. All right, I've got some ledger pieces that I thought might work well here. And another, oh, and I found more of that book page, would you believe? A more stable piece of that book. That'll go with that. And let's see, I had one more other piece here that I thought might go well, but I'm not seeing it now. Let's see. It was a cut off from a ledger piece of some kind. I sure don't, oh, here it is. There we go. I also have a piece of this, but I don't think I'm going to use it. This piece, I think, would go well with these colors and things, too. Oh, so let's just go ahead and... Do we want to just put this down? Let's turn it this way. And then we can put that down there, and that'll come up to my window, because I don't need this extra. And then I'm just going to fold these pieces over and take them off here. So that they're not, because then they'll end up everywhere, but just don't take them off now. All right. We need a new glue piece because my windows are sticking. Okay, and that's better. So let's get glue down here on this piece. This can be, you can orient these any way that you want, especially if you leave some extra white on them. And if somebody else has another name for these, or you call them something else, please let me know, because I really don't have a clue. I just call them window, what do I call them? Scrappy window frames. Yeah, and I'm just going to make that go there. That's perfect. I'll come back and trim that little bit off there. And then I have a randomy piece here of this ledger on both sides. I like this stamp piece, so I think we're going to tear this though, because I didn't want it to block over the window. Because the bottom's going to need to be a little bit skinnier than what we've got. So that's a good place to tear it. I'm just, for something like this, just going to tear it because it doesn't matter. And this is some paper. So let me ink my white edge. These documents that I use actually were paper pads from Temu that they had at one time. And I think I picked up, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 of them because I just loved the way they looked. Do we want to, what's the right side up for this? Let's put it on like that. Okay, so we don't lose any, don't want that glue. Where's the end of that stamp? Okay, so I've got a little give with it. Now I'm going to go down to about the bottom of my lines here because I'm going to leave a little overhang on this piece and trim it. So it's going to go on here. Where do we want it on here? Like this. And tear that off. I think that's what I want to do. So, okay. Oh, here's what we're going to do, folks. We'll put this down like this. Get the glue down on here. Get it where I want it. Okay. So do that. Come down to here. And then I'm just going to fold this little bit up here. And give it a really good crease. And I'm going to tear it. Doesn't always work when you do this, but I'm going to give it a try. There we go. And it looks like this paper is being cooperative and it's tearing about where I folded it. I can come back and put a little more glue down here and just push that piece that didn't tear. I'm just going to push it down on there. Like that. There we go. That worked. And I like that rough edge along there. So I like it. I like it. I like it. That's the way. Oops, here I go singing again. I have a few more here that are just super cool. But again, I think we're just going to tear these couple pieces off the end here and use them. Goodness gracious. This is going to be our last one, guys, because it's at 45 minutes. And obviously I didn't get 5 done in 45 minutes. I got 3 done. I didn't even look at the time when I started these, so if somebody else kept track what time I started this, then please share below, because I have no idea. I said that and then I didn't keep track, did I? That's how my brain works. Okay, we're going to just put you up like that. Still got a piece there that is not quite covered. Slide that to where I want it because it's easy to do with glue stick. There we go. And we have that. Still going to give a little bit of a torn look along the edge, which I like, really. So that's why I'm doing it this way. I don't have any funny stories to tell. However, my granddaughter stopping by, she's only 9, her and her mom, obviously. She has Girl Scouts on Wednesdays, and they often will come by my house because they live out of the main town. They have a little bit of a drive, and when they go pick her up at school, if she has Girl Scouts, they will come here just to kind of waste some time until they need to go to Girl Scouts. It gives Addie a place where she can sit and eat and not have to sit in a restaurant and just kind of chill after school. But she tells hilarious stories, so I'm looking forward to by tomorrow afternoon when she comes. I have to get my videos done early so that I'm not doing something else when she does come. Well, you know, I think I'm just going to try, see what happens, because this has some really cool writing down here in this little corner. And on the other side, it has something else. So, first of all, let's take this here like this, because we don't need a piece that long. So we're going to take that off here. And I'm going to take a piece that I can put across the bottom. And I think there's a piece without even disturbing that other stamp and signature-like paper there. That. Okay, we're going to take you off here, because we don't need you all. Let's see, if I tear it like this, depending on how you tear papers, whether you'll get that white edge on the paper. And I did it that way, and it doesn't have that white edge, which I like, so I like that. And then I just need a small piece for the top, and it's done. And of course, I wanted to try a 30-minute video today. And what do we get? We get 50. I'll let that hang over a slight bit and trim it later. Just going for another piece. I think it'd be neat if the bottom's at the bottom and the top's at the top. So, oh, I'm tearing it wrong. Let's do this because I don't want a big white edge on it. Okay, there we go. Let's tear you off. There's really nothing on you. You don't look so interesting. I'm going to glue that there. Then I'll trim the excesses. And would I keep this tiny little scrap like scrap? No, I'm not. I will keep this scrap, but not those teeny tiny, itsy bitsy, teeny weeny pieces. I keep one that, if it's big enough for a label, then I'll usually keep it. And I don't know that we're going to have to put anything on this right now because it does have the stamped piece on there. So I think I'm just going to bring that over and put it right there like that. And there you go. That one is done. Once it's dry, I will trim those excesses off. So we managed to do this one. We got this one done. And we got one done with washi tape. So, there you have it. You try some window frames for your journal. Add your own touches to it. And if you don't like... No. Let me say that all over again. Please like and subscribe my videos. And I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Bye for now.